Alright, since you reviewed the figure, it's only fair that I fix your door.
Thanks, man.
And you're lucky you gave the figure a positive score, or else I'd have Rogel put you back in the cage.
Thanks, I guess? Anyways, about fixing my wall. Oh, come on, you can at least fix the last hole that you put in the wall.
Fuck no! Before this video starts, I just want to warn you guys that this introduction is about to be an entire yapathon about Raimi Venom. If you don't want to hear that, skip to this time code where the actual figure review begins. So, anyways. So, we all know I love Spider-Man, right? Specifically the Raimi film's interpretation of the webhead. Both Spider-Man 1 and 2 were smash hits, leading up to the third film having extremely big shoes to fill, and dear lord, the hype train absolutely does not disappoint with this movie. It was actually on par with the first movie. This was because of two major reasons. This movie not only marked the first big screen adaptation of the Black Suit arc, but it also marked the very first on-screen appearance of Venom. I could honestly go on about how 90% of the merchandise for this movie was literally Black Suit and Venom related. Hell, I even used to have the poster of both Red and Black Suit Spider-Man aura farming on the rooftop in my room. And then the movie came out and yeah, the movie had very mixed reception. A lot of people were very mixed on the movie. Despite it being a financial success, the movie received a lot of ridicule due to some of the creative decisions with some of the characters. Now, I have a confession to make. Out of all the Raimi movies, Spider-Man 3 was the one I rewatched the most.
What?
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 was the Spider-Man movie I ended up watching the most due to the fact that it was the movie I easily had the most amount of access to. I would basically rent Spider-Man movies for free because I was chill with the staff like that at like fucking 7 years old, and they knew I absolutely loved Spider-Man. So I had gotten Spider-Man 3 and watched it over and over and over and over again. And this movie remains one of my favorite superhero movies to this day for one big reason and one big reason only. The symbiote story. This was the shit as a kid. Now, admittedly, liberties have been taken because, of course, the shit that happened in the comics couldn't be adapted in the movie. For example, in the original comics, Spider-Man got the symbiote from Battleworld during a cosmic event while fighting alongside other heroes. Now, since this Spider-Man was in a contained universe, he doesn't have other heroes to fight alongside with, so they just have the symbiote come to the Earth during a meteor shower. It's the symbiote, and it starts affecting his personality. He becomes more arrogant and has more frequent violent outbursts. After Peter realizes that the symbiote has been feeding off of his negative emotions and even amplifying them in some ways, he decides to get rid of it. And it leads to the introduction of my favorite Spider-Man character on screen. The Dark Mirror to Spider-Man. A man who got all the power, but doesn't care for the responsibility. A man who is fueled by his own arrogance and self-entitlement to the point he refuses to admit that even when he is 100% in the wrong, even when he's exposed.
Do you remember what you did to me?
This is Venom, and this guy is way better than a lot of people give him credit for as an adaptation. I would even go as far as to say this is quite literally the most comic faithful or accurate adaptation of Venom we've ever gotten since the 90s series. In the comics, and well, at least the original comics, he's the anti-Peter Parker. He's got all the power, but shirks the side of the responsibility that comes with it. A man that suffers from so much self-victimization that it manifests through his unhealthy obsession with Spider-Man.
Welcome to my neighborhood, Spider-Man. Could you be my neighbor? You may call me Venom, for that is what I'm paid to be all these days. I am your victim, Spider-Man. I am the innocent you ruined.
And what's crazy is that there are only 2 movie books that go a bit more in depth about this version of Venom. A comic tie-in actually called The Black, and funny enough, a children's book simply called I Am Venom. The tie-in comic, it serves as a fill-in between Eddie getting the symbiote and him recruiting Sandman for the final battle in Spider-Man 3. It does a lot of heavy lifting establishing Eddie getting used to bonding with the symbiote. Even the fact that the symbiote is silently communicating with Eddie, telling him everything he needs to know about Peter being Spider-Man.
Parker did this to me. Parker set me up. He destroyed me. That's what this is, right? I'm ruined. I'm a monster. This black. It's breathing for me. It's thinking for me. It's cold. Needs something. What is it? Just let it. Let it. Just hold it. Cold. The power. Why am I... What is this? What is in my head? Parker? Parker is
Spider-Man.
this black. It was on Parker. Now it's on me. It knows everything about Parker. It has his memories. He was Spider-Man. He is Spider-Man? Old. It wants me to get Parker. The black wants Parker. It's showing me how to get to him, showing me how to find him. Look at me though. Look at me. Anything Parker could do. You want forgiveness? Your religion. Anything Parker could do, now I can do. Anything he has,
I can have.
It also gives us a little bit more of Eddie's obsession with Gwen Stacy. I'm getting Ultimate Spider-Man flashbacks, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I like the fact that most of the comic is Eddie's internal dialogue, digesting the information being fed to him by the symbiote, and even gives some insight on why Eddie decides to seek out Sandman to help with the final battle. Hell, he even interacts directly with MJ, though it's more one-sided because MJ is fucking freaking out at the sight of him.
He's a liar, is the thing. You know that. He kissed her. Gwen Stacy, my Gwen. He kissed her right in front of both of us. I'm going to get him back for you, Mary Jane. For all of us. He's going to pay for what he's done to you. He doesn't love you the way I love you.
Now, the comic was written by, I'm sorry, fucking Bendis? Yeah, I'm starting to see where the Eddie obsession with Gwen is coming from now. The artist of the book is the goated Mark Bagley. Venom is drawn amazingly in his book. However, I wish the web pattern remained consistent. For some reason, his iteration of Tobey's Spider-Man is just a major mess. It just might be the colorist who fucked it up, honestly. I Am Venom is a children's book based on Spider-Man 3, but the events are told from the perspective of Eddie himself, which I think is a really bold way of going about this story. Instead of doing what most children's books do and have the narrator tell it from a third-person perspective and point out that Eddie is a shitty person, we as the reader see the world through his eyes and his thoughts. We see his one-sided rivalry between him and Peter from his perspective. It's painted as if Peter doubts Eddie's abilities because Peter is so full of himself and he considers it a challenge to prove Parker wrong. It even includes the scene from Spider-Man 3 where Spider-Man kissed Gwen Stacy after accepting the key to the city. And it shows that Eddie was actually there. Apparently this scene was supposed to be in the movie, but it got cut for whatever reason. I just love this disappointed expression from Eddie. And if you want to be funny, you can also interpret this as Eddie's mad he isn't the one getting a kiss from Spider-Man. It even has a bit of manipulation from one scene where Eddie's getting a picture of Spider-Man in his new black suit. It's framed as if Spider-Man lashed out at Eddie for no reason and uses that to justify faking the photo for the Daily Bugle. The art and narration even portrays that he feels guilty for doing it, but it was a necessary evil to obtain his goal of getting the staff job. Even getting caught, it's framed as something worthy of sympathy, like we should feel bad about him getting outed for faking the photo. Mind you, Eddie leaves out the extremely crucial detail that he used one of Peter's old photos and doctored it to make it look like Black Suit Spider-Man for robbing the bank. I don't think anyone else has ever picked up on that, but I still find that detail funny. We see a lot more of his relationship with Gwen in the book, or I should say lack thereof. Even guilt-tripping us by saying, "Why does Parker get the job and the girl? It's not fair." It even frames it in a certain way as he's pouring his heart out to God, wondering how life could be so cruel to him, but conveniently leaving out the request in his prayer.
I want you to kill Peter Parker.
He then gets the symbiote, and while the art rendition of him is decent, I find him a bit too scrawny. I'm not a big fan of the yellow eyes, and also this book was written by N.T. Raymond, and the art is by Stephen Gordon and 2 other credited artists. I really like how, despite being a children's book, this employs a very mature narrative trope, the unreliable narrator. If you absolutely had no knowledge about Spider-Man lore and this is your first introduction to them, you'd think Spider-Man was a menace. Jameson was right. But this book perfectly characterizes Eddie Brock in the movie, as well as borrowing from the original comic. Eddie has a dark sense of entitlement about himself. He thinks he deserves everything and has an ends justify the means type of mentality. And the Venom suit itself is a massive showcase of that. Eddie's jealousy of Peter, along with the rage amplified by the symbiote, makes him an extremely terrifying presence. I don't think you understand how much this version of Venom low-key scared a generation of children. Like, if I saw that leaping at me from a hallway, I think I'd have a heart attack. I loved this interpretation of Venom as a kid. And honestly, I still love Raimi Venom as an adult, too. You see, it's really easy to enjoy actually good shit when you don't have some bitchless wimp in your ear talking about how much the movie stinks and apparently Raimi didn't understand Venom, even though, like, it's kind of clear he understood the assignment. It's just he was kind of forced into doing it instead of going at it at his own pace. Like, did you know that Raimi initially intended to have Eddie Brock be introduced all the way into Spider-Man 1? I mean, he even gets a name drop reference in one of the scenes.
Problem is, we don't have a decent picture. Eddie's been on it for weeks. We can barely get a glimpse of it. Eddie's been on it for weeks. Eddie's been on it for weeks. Eddie's been on it for weeks.
So it's kind of clear Raimi actually did want to at least do Venom at some point. It's just that he wasn't ready to do it yet. Like, every time I talk about this subject, it kind of reminds me of Billy's media speech from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I'm 99.9% sure you guys know which one I'm talking about.
Am I the only one who understands the complexities of this ambitious cinematic masterpiece? This movie isn't stupid! You're stupid!
I love this Venom so much where, as an adult, I decided to seek out action figures of him, and, Darby Slim Pickens. Hasbro shit the bed when it came to actually bringing him to life, with the 5-inch figure line being ew. And the 6-inch figure line we got... I did a review of this thing, like, 4 or 5 years ago, and even I was shitting on this figure back then. And let's be real, like, my McFarlane Toys One Punch Man figure review, I wasn't harsh enough on this hunk of junk plastic. Extremely limited articulation, extremely inaccurate for the movie's design. You know, you want to know what's crazy? This figure and every single figure made during the time Spider-Man 3 came out were all based on prototype suits and concept art. And to this day, we still have never gotten a screen-accurate version of Raimi Venom in an action figure. The closest we've gotten is earlier 2024's Thunder Toys Alien Host. But that figure is like 1/6 scale, and I'm a 1/12 scale elitist. Then, something happened. This is the craziest figure reveal I ever witnessed. It just showed up on my Instagram feed one day and I immediately started screaming. Meet SawTooth Toys Symbiotic variant. The answer to all my prayers, to everything. You know, I had to secure the pre-order and I waited for months for the Holy Grail to ship out. Will SawTooth Toys fail me to the point where I'll make them seek forgiveness through religion? Or will it crush my expectations and make me fail November for all future years to come? I actually should be here about... I'm assuming you're the
This is for some guy named ArachnidYouth.
Master, I heard a knock at the door. Who is?
You got yourself a pet robot, huh? Of course some nerd like you would get lonely enough to have something like that.
could I have my package, please?
Sure. What's in the box anyways, little man?
Well, it's...
It is actually a SawTooth Toys 1/12 scale Symbiotic variant, but to put it in a more simplistic term, it is a third-party action figure based on the design of Venom's appearance in 2007 movie Spider-Man 3.
Really now?
Why would you say that? Why would you tell her that?
So you're a big fan of my distant cousin, huh?
So, I can explain.
Master is very infatuated with that specific version of Venom. He's actually been excited for this figure delivery.
Is that so? Maybe I should stick around to see how much you really like this product.
Master, my sensors detect a spike in your...
Robot, do me a favor. Stop talking.
Ooh, my spider sense is tingling. If you know what I'm talking about.
Before we get to the figure, I want to talk about the box. It kind of sucks. Yeah, I kind of wish the box was a bit more presentable instead of just being a box of cobwebs. I liked what PW Toys did with their box, and while I'm well aware that this is a completely different company, I definitely would have liked it if they structured the box like what Pocket World does.
Enough talking about some useless box. How about we get into talking about the figure, huh?
I'm sorry. Anyways, enough talking about the box, let's talk about the figure. Painting and sculpting on this figure is absolutely immaculate.
That's a big word for a meatbag.
The fuck did you just call me? The cloth suit is expertly textured with a pattern that has a movie-accurate feel to it. They somehow got the suit to look slick, slim, and reptilian, which is exactly how the movie designers wanted Venom to contrast Toby, and I absolutely love it.
So you like snakes? I can show you how a constrictor feels.
Are you gonna do this for the whole review?
Ugh, fine. Don't act like you're enjoying the foreplay.
Cowboys are rendered in a tar-like rubber texture that just pops off the figure, along with a silverish gray spider emblem that stretches and connects to the back of the figure. Finally, a figure that actually has a movie-accurate suit that we saw in the bell tower in the final fight. No more prototype nonsense. It feels really smooth and cool to the touch. They did a really good job making sure that they got the suit right and making sure it would last and not crack apart. The body itself also has sculpted abs that press against the suit and are even soft to the touch. I don't know how I feel about that. Of course, the costume stitching is kind of an eyesore, but it's a minor thing to be upset over. But speaking of eyes, let's talk about these heads, man.
My head's better, by the way.
This head is similar, if not the exact same sculpt I've seen online a bajillion times with other Venom customs, but SawTooth definitely nailed the paint on his head. The eyes have a grayish border with a white iris and glossy finish. However, the top corner is not painted. 0 to 10, immersion ruined. It actually looks like a living costume, and I like the fact that the teeth are painted in bone white, along with being jagged and uneven. God knows the dentist hates when this motherfucker comes in showing up for his appointment. I'd go as far as to say that this is the first 1/12 Raimi figure to actually sculpt the chaotic symbiote tendrils like the film's practical suit. Everything before then has either been smooth or just patterned wrong. This just looks like a screenshot from the movie, and it's somehow faithful without exaggerating any of the features. And as I must point out once again, it's not using the concept art as a reference sheet, Hasbro. Another thing I want to point out, this is the best blend of fabric and sculpt I have ever seen. Hell, his underbody matches the colors, so it doesn't look odd if the fabric gets pulled back a bit too much, even if that would have been possible.
The suit! You gotta take it off!
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Eat that, Pocket World. And he's actually wearing boots. Thank God, no gross-ass toes.
Put those grippers away!
Sorry, man. I'm not Quentin Tarantino. Keep your weird-ass foot fetish away from me. You know what? Let's just get right to the... He comes with a surprisingly minuscule assortment of accessories. He comes with fists, open hands that have magnets attached to them, and grabbing hands. One thing to point out is while he does have claws on his hands, they're not painted like they are in the movie. It looks like I'll have to go in there and do it myself.
If you're in a painting mood, I have a few spots you can polish.
Okay, one more outburst like that and I'm kicking you out.
Master, even with our combined forces, we would not be able to evict She-Venom from the apartment through force alone.
He actually does come with black wire webbing, though for some reason that's not included in the promo photos. It's honestly just straight black bendy wire, and I assume it's straight so you can just twist it up into your own version to make it look like the symbiote webbing he uses in the movies.
This is what I came up with. Not bad for a first timer.
Which prompts a question I'd like to present to you guys. How would you like Venom's webbing to look? White like Spider-Man, or black like it did in the Raimi movies and the Spectacular Spider-Man show?
I mean, black is the superior choice. Sleek, stylish, sinister, and it leaves no stains.
Master, my sensors detect another spike in your blood pressure.
He also comes with a stand that has 4 hinge joints, as well as the base itself, not only being magnetic, but double as a storage area for his accessories similar to that of Pocket World Green Monster. However, unlike Green Monster, Venom's base not only does not have a slide out drawer, it doesn't have any special designs to make it unique or stand out.
So, his base is bland, and you're still obsessing over him? Good thing I don't need a decorated platform to get your attention.
Master.
If you say one more thing about my blood pressure, I'm hiding your charger. It also comes with a steel spike he used to antagonize Peter during the final battle. And finally, he comes with 2 heads. One with a shark tooth grin mirroring the scene where he recruits Sandman.
Interested?
And the other being an open mouth roar. I really love the sculpt of this, as you can really hear the animalistic screeching erupting from the mouth. Now, if you look closely in this head, you'll see there's also a magnet, and you have 2 tongue pieces, one being the long tongue, and the second being the short tongue. It connects to the mouth like so. What's funny is that you can cope by saying it's movie accurate with the short tongue, and video game accurate with the long tongue. One word, and I'm blasting you with Uncle Aaron's beats. Anyways, accessories do feel a little bit lackluster, mostly because of the fact that there's no unmasked Topher Grace head, no symbiote tendrils for effect. Accessories aren't too bad, but then again, what more could you give him aside from an unmasked head? It's not like he used any weapons in the movie or made that many hand gestures. Let's move on to...
Never wound what you can't kill.
Just like in the PW Tour Green Monster review, the articulation is covered by the cloth suit, but I still showcase that he could do just about any pose you put him in. He just couldn't do certain 360s because, you know, the human body can't do that. Only real issue is that he can't crunch forward that much for my copy, and he has a toe bend, but it's a very weak toe bend, so it might as well not exist at this point.
Together, he doesn't stand a chance.
Interested?
Okay, so, out of all the glazing I've been doing of this figure, there couldn't possibly be a single thing I'd want to fix about it, right? Wrong! So I think it would be extremely unfair to touch on some of the limitations of articulation, because the cloth suit, I mean, there's no fucking shit that's gonna happen. So I think I should touch on the things that actually do matter. Anyways, let's start with his hands. While I did say earlier that the hand selection is decent, I realized that there is a hand selection missing.
And what's that?
Curled, clawed hands, like when he's attacking with slashes. I mean, he is shown to use his claws in a fight, so it just feels weird that he doesn't have a set of hands that would serve as attacking hands. The closest I do have in my inventory that rectifies this issue is my KO Max Black Panther hands, where he does have slashing effects attached to it, as well as regular ones without it. As for head sculpts, I would really like if we had a Topher Grace Eddie Brock head. I know the biggest complaint that every time he talked, he would peel back the symbiote when it was completely unnecessary, and I do agree with that sentiment. But it does feel weird they didn't include that as an accessory. And speaking of hands, I want to address another issue that I have with SawTooth Venom when it comes to swapping them. The cloth suit, as perfect as it is, really gets in the way when you're trying to peg the hands back into the arms. Like, you borderline have to pull the sleeves down in order to get the hands to peg on. It's really infuriating. His neck is also a bit too short. He looks like his head is in his shoulders when you stand him straight up. I also want to talk about the magnets. I ain't gonna hold you, Chief. They're
Trash, Brock.
When I heard this figure was going to come with magnetic accessories, I immediately jumped in excitement because, of course, I had the Mafex in mind. Their Spider-Man line usually comes with magnetic accessories, but these, they might as well not exist.
Because I want to show you how weak or how failed the magnets on SawTooth are. Here is my ArachnidYouth custom using a KO Mafex body, which the KO is perfect. I'm kind of waiting for CT to announce theirs, but that's not important. I know I snapped the hand off because while I was swapping out the hands for this, I pressed a little too hard, so I got to look through my fodder to see if I can replace that peg instead of getting a whole new figure because I'm kind of strapped for Crash right now. But he is being held up by only one KO Mafex magnet on one hand. Yes, he is being held up by one fucking hand. See? And this is the official Mafex Toby. He is being held up only by his feet. One full foot and partially this foot because it's kind of slanting off a bit because it can't put both feet flat. Now here's SawTooth. Both hands have the magnets on them. Here is his magnetic stand. Both hands on. Cannot hold up the stand. Let me see. Can he do it with both hands? Can he do it with both hands? Can he do it with both hands? Can he hold both hands up? Nope. Well, what about his feet? What about his feet? Because both of his feet have magnets on them. Can they hold it up? Can they hold it up? Can they stay on? Nope. Cannot stay on at all. And just to show you I'm not going insane, I'm going to take the Mafex Toby, both feet. Well, let's try one foot. One foot. Maybe I'm going insane. 1 foot planted and... Oh, would you look at that? It fucking sticks. And that's only with one fucking magnet. KO Mafex me. One hand. Look at the shit. It's kind of pathetic. And he can't even hold up the stand with one hand. Like, the adhesion is there. It will adhere, but it's not strong enough to hold. So these magnets are really weak. I don't know. Maybe they use some outdated expired magnets or something. I don't know how that really works, but yeah, that's really disappointing.
Of course, I am kind of reaching with some of these because the figure is fine as is. That's also why I don't really have any issue with his build. I thought he was initially going to be too scrawny and small, but thankfully I can show that's not the case in the... SawTooth Venom comes at a little over 6 inches. Here he is next to my last review, the Only One Customs Video Game Venom, Toy Biz Red Dress Mary Jane, Remac Customs Spider Wrestler, CT Toys Mafex 001 Amazing Spider-Man, PW Toys Green Monster, Mafex number 88 Venom, the official one, not the bootleg, Mafex number 241 Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man with a custom file rule story head, and finally, me and Robot/Rogal. Oh, and here he is next to Judy Hopps.
Is that a figure in a jar?
What? No, Judy's not in a...
I'm literally standing right here, so you're not gonna sit here and not trying to gaslight me.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Anyways, let's move on to...
Fair's fair, Parker. Now it's time for a little one-on-one. The game ends here.
I give this figure an 8.5 out of 10. This figure is extremely good. So good that the flaws I pointed out only constitute for taking 8.5 off of being a perfect score. If you're someone like me and you've been looking for a definitive Raimi Venom in a 1/12 scale, your search is over. You don't have to commission others for custom figure editions that 9 times out of 10 are going to have some sort of inaccuracies that you're willing to go along with because it was made with passion and love. This figure right here is the one you've been searching for. You want to know what's crazy? 6-inch Studios ain't done with Raimi yet, because in the middle of me waiting for this figure to come, they revealed that they're working on their own 2004 to 2007 Raimi figure, and I have just as much faith that this figure will be just as good, if not better than this one. This time they'll be partnering with DB Toys instead of SawTooth. It also looks like they'll be making sure that their figure will be movie accurate to a T. They'll even have an unmasked head and even a trilogy accurate mask. None of this close enough bullshit. Well, I think that concludes today's review. Let me know.
Now, hold on.
Yep, I knew it was getting too quiet.
I've been listening. 20 minutes. 20 minutes of you praising another symbiote. And not once did you say I look better.
I mean, you weren't part of the review. Why would...
Wrong answer. 8.5 out of 10? In all honesty, I'm giving him a 6. You, though, you're still under review.
I don't like how that sounds.
Now, you like reviewing things? How about you review me next?
That... oh, shit. Robot, cut the video. Cut the video now. Cut the video. We can't show that here.
Well, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like, subscribe. If you are new to the channel, please do not be afraid to comment what your favorite part of the video was. Maybe even leave your own opinion if you do not mind. As my master would say, you are always welcome in this neighborhood.
Help! She's touching me!